taking a look at an activity that we can use coding for in grade 5. The spatial sense curriculum is great for that. So looking at expectation 1.1 and 1.2 right now, talking about the geometric properties of different shapes. So what I would do with my class to introduce this activity is I would take them through a challenge and say, can you have your sprite draw me a square? And to start off the activity, I might activate prior knowledge about coding and ask them about how they would code a person to walk in a square. So I might ask Jesse to stand up and be my robot. And I'd say, what are the instructions we should give to Jesse? What is the first thing we should say? Like when our green flag is clicked, what would the next instruction be? And somebody might say, walk 5 steps. Okay, so once she's finished her 5 steps, what would we ask her to do? And you want to pull out the language of the turns, and you want her to turn 90 degrees to the left. And you can talk about your degrees at that point and say, like, we need to be specific. And what is the interior angle of a square? So she's going to turn 90 degrees. What do we want her to do next? We want her to walk 5 more steps. So they're really pulling out the geometric properties of a shape of a square. You can show them the answer when they're done. So we've got a repeat here 4 times because they move 100 steps, they turn 90 degrees, and they repeat that 4 times to make a square. So again, we're talking about the properties of a square because it's the exact same steps 4 times. This would look different if it was a triangle. It would look different if it was a rectangle. And because you're looking at the geometric properties of all of those shapes, you can talk about what your repeats might look like or what your actual movement commands are going to be. Once they figured this one out, you can ask them to try it out with a triangle. An equilateral triangle is a pretty tricky one because you're coding the interior angle of a triangle, but you actually have to program your sprite to move on the exterior angle. So when they do that, they will end up coming up with like a pentagon or an octagon, and they start to learn the differences with coding and what they need to do for each direction. You can have them do visualizing activities. So what do you think this would look like? Give them a few minutes to start thinking about it. They can code it and see that it actually draws a star. What I would do to extend this is really focus on having them meet that second expectation where they're not only identifying the different geometric properties, but they're constructing them as well. So what are different ways that you can construct congruent triangles or rectangles or parallelograms and have your sprite do that for you?